And I'm really, really glad that I did not have to bring up the subject of the tooth fairy as well.
You just saw Joni Ernst give an apology, which, yeah, that was I'll do the whole apology a little later. But that was pretty arrogant. Not pretty arrogant, really arrogant. She's having a town hall, and she's getting a lot of crap because people are saying, you're going to kill a bunch of people. I'm going to play most of this interchange here and let you kind of make your decision on it. What's really happening here is we're going to protect all the people, the vulnerable people, except we're going to determine who the vulnerable people are. And that's going to change who's actually a vulnerable person. We're going to have this work requirement. Now, by the way, this work requirement has never, ever worked. Reagan tried this stupid thing I think it was in the 60s. And he said, it worked great, except nobody else thought it worked great. It didn't do diddly crap. There was more administrative problems and cost more in administration than you could ever save by getting these people to work. I'm not saying you shouldn't work for a living. Most of these people that are on Medicaid do work for a living. I know people on Medicaid, they do. There's a few, the welfare mom stuff and so on. But what they're going to do is restrict who is eligible. Now listen to her talk. She's going to tell you all about this.
And it will change. The bill will be changing. There are going to be some things that we do agree on with the House, though. And you mentioned things like the Medicaid and how some people currently on Medicaid would not be able to receive Medicaid. That's because they're not currently eligible by the original definition of Medicaid, and they will be moved off of those Medicaid rolls. Again, still allowing those that are truly eligible for Medicaid to remain on those rolls. When it comes to SNAP, and believe me, I've focused on this issue, the states have been making overpayments when it comes to SNAP, and this is an issue that has been recognized by both Democrats and Republicans. So this is an area that I worked with Debbie Stabenow, who was the Democratic chair of the Ag Committee, to correct. We did not get the Farm Bill done during her tenure as chair, and so this is something that we do hope to correct in the reconciliation bill. So that's SNAP as it stands now. That again has been agreed upon by both Democrats and Republicans in the past.
Okay, at this point, she is going to say the 1.4 million illegal aliens, and I call them illegal aliens. It's not as descriptive as I'd like, but undocumented is a little bit chicken shit. So I'm going to call them illegal aliens. We did invite them in the country, by the way, over many decades.
So when you are arguing about illegals that are receiving Medicaid benefits, 1.4 million, 1.4, they are not eligible. So they will be coming off. So people are not.
She says Medicaid is open to all these people. 1.4 million. Okay, I got a number up here. $575,000. Okay, that number that I put up there isn't really an accurate number. But because she says we are going to save $800 billion over 10 years, that's 800 million in 1 year, if you want to figure it that way, that would mean over that 10 years, every illegal alien that used Medicare, it cost $500,000. 571. I didn't do all the rest of the numbers on it, but $571,000. That's a bunch of crap. It is not true. And I'm not saying these numbers are accurate enough. Illegals are not eligible for Medicaid. Now, there are cases where there are situations where they could be, but for the most part, what they're eligible for is what every other human being in this country is eligible for. That is, if I go to an emergency room, whether I have insurance or not, the emergency room must stabilize me before they can put me back out. They have to stabilize you. Anyone that says we should never do that is not much of a humanitarian, are you? I mean, everybody has a right. They actually have a right to medical care. There's limits to what we can do. But that very minimal care is what I believe that they should be able to have. Most of these emergency rooms, it's going to cost somewhere between $1,200 and $7,000. Not the $500,000. The $500,000 that they're saving is really going to eliminate people that should get Medicaid because they don't make enough money, they don't have insurance where they work, they don't work enough hours, whatever. You know, a lot of companies, they don't want you working full time because then you get medical benefits. So they don't give them to them. They can't hold them under 30, I think it's 32 hours. That's what that's for. Now, you want to fix that, tell the employers they got to pay medical for all of them. But Joni, she's sitting there saying, and this, we come up here with we're all going to die. Okay, listen to this.
Well, we all are going to die. So, for heaven's sakes, folks. Okay, no, but well, what you don't want to do is listen to me when I say that we are going to focus on those that are most vulnerable. Those that meet the eligibility requirements for Medicaid, we will protect.
Okay, she's reacting to people saying, you're going to kill people. People are going to die because of what you're doing. And she says, well, we're all going to die. That's about as arrogant as you can get, isn't it? Isn't that about as arrogant as you can get? Now let's play this last piece where she apologizes sarcastically.
I made an incorrect assumption that everyone in the auditorium understood that, yes, we are all going to perish from this earth. So I apologize. And I'm really, really glad that I did not have to bring up the subject of the tooth fairy as well.
You really want this person representing you? She's got great health care. Congress and the Senate, they have great health care. They get whatever they want. There's an ambulance that sits out there waiting outside the building for anybody that gets sick in the Congress and the Senate. Now, if a guy falls down and bleeding all over the ground right in front of them, they can't go there. They're there for the congressional people. So she gets plenty of it, but we're going to limit who can get health care. There is no way in this country we should ever limit health care. We do it. Bernie Sanders tells us all about it all the time. I'm not a big fan of Bernie Sanders, but health care is a right. And Joni Ernst is going to say, well, we'll get this one, just not that one, not that one. Anyway, that's it on this one.